शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। मुनियों ने समझी है, दुनियों ने जानी, वेदों की भाषा, पुराणों की वाणी। मुनियों ने समझी है, दुनियों ने जानी, वेदों की भाषा, पुराणों की वाणी। हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने, हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने। विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ।
Distinguished guests, Mr. Naveen Jain, special invitees, dear students and colleagues. On behalf of IILM family, it's a great pleasure to welcome you all to this key event of the IILM social and academic calendar. IILM launched the Global Thinker Award in 2006 to celebrate and honor those distinguished individuals who have contributed substantially to the global stream of consciousness, ideas, knowledge, and have made a long-lasting impact. The first award was conferred on Lord Bhikkhu Parekh in 2006. Professor Prahlad, the awardee in 2008, who unfortunately is no more with us, shared the results of his research on wealth at the bottom of the pyramid and what it means to India. His influence is seen from the fact that IILM, like many other leading business schools across the world, has developed courses based on his work. His body of knowledge continues to enthuse a growing band of entrepreneurs, professional managers, and venture capitalists. The 8th IILM Distinguished Global Thinker Awardee, Professor Sumitra Datta, Dean of the Samuel Curtis Johnson Graduate School of Management, Cornell University, and also a member of the inner circle of World Economic Forum, spoke on the innovation at the speed of life, India in a flat world. Professor Datta was elected chair of the AACSP Board of Directors earlier this month. At the 7th IILM Distinguished Global Thinker Award, Mr. Sam Petroda, the pioneer of telecom in India, spoke on technology and innovation transforming the 21st century. He highlighted, quote, "I see two streams of hopes that will lead us together into building a new India. One, technology which includes knowledge, innovation, and related issues to solve the problems of tomorrow in a different way. And two, the young talent," unquote. The reason I have covered only 3 of the awardees is the paucity of time. But in this short span of 10 years, IILM Global Thinker Award has built up a great equity and its underlying ethos. Our other distinguished awardees have been Dr. M.S. Swaminathan in 2007, Lord Meghnad Desai in 2009, Dr. Shashi Tharoor in 2010, and Professor Andre Batile in 2011. Mr. Jain, of the many achievements of IILM in the past few years, we would like to highlight one which we are very proud of. IILM has been inducted in the leadership group of United Nations Global Compact PRME initiative, that's Principles for Responsible Management Education. This leadership group works on planning and implementing the framework of responsible management and leadership education. IILM is the only business school from India to be part of this group of champion business schools. IILM, together with Babson College USA and Copenhagen Business School Denmark, is also the co-lead for faculty development program of PRME. We are also very happy to share that at the universal ranking of best business schools in India for 2015, IILM has been ranked number 11 in 3 Palms of Excellence category. This was released only about a week ago. We are very honored that Mr. Naveen Jain has been gracious in consenting to accept the 9th IILM Distinguished Global Thinker Award. Mr. Jain is an exceptionally successful entrepreneur and a philanthropist. Famous English philosopher and anthropologist Herbert Spencer said, "The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action." Going by this quote, Mr. Jain is probably one of the best examples of transforming knowledge into action and getting things done. So we are really proud of your illustrious career. Mr. Jain serves on several boards related to science, technology, and education. He is the chairman of X Prize Foundation and on the board of directors for Singularity Universities. With these words, I once again welcome all of you and invite Dr. Anjali Singh to read out the citation honoring Mr. Naveen Jain. Dr. Anjali Singh.
Mr. Naveen Jain is an entrepreneur and philanthropist driven to solve the world's biggest challenges through innovation. A man who knows no limits, Mr. Jain pushes big dreams into action, spurring massive cultural and technological changes. His audacious vision and magnetic personality continually inspire others to follow what feels impossible. Born on 6 September 1959, he grew up in the villages of Uttar Pradesh. He graduated with an engineering degree from the Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, in 1979 and completed his MBA from XLRI, Jamshedpur in 1982. In 1983, Mr. Naveen Jain moved to USA. After brief tenures with a couple of small companies in the Silicon Valley, California, he moved to the state of Washington to join a relatively small IT company called Microsoft in 1989. His work at Microsoft formed the foundation he needed to start his own company. In March 1996, he founded a highly successful company called InfoSpace. It was the first company to understand the power of mobile devices before the birth of smartphones. InfoSpace went on to become one of the top 100 companies in the United States with a market capitalization exceeding $30 billion US. And Mr. Jain became one of the richest Americans, listed in Forbes 400 in 1999. Mr. Naveen Jain continued his entrepreneurial success as a founder of Intellis, Inno, TalentWise, Moon Express, and Blue Dot. Moon Express made history a few months back by becoming the first company to build a lunar lander capable of landing on the moon and bringing back the resources needed for the benefit of humanity. Google awarded Moon Express $1 million US for its historic achievement. Moon Express is currently on track to launch its lunar lander within the next 2 years and become the first private company and the fourth superpower to ever successfully land on the moon. His most recent entrepreneurial venture, Blue Dot, is working with thousands of scientists at US national labs and NASA to identify radical technologies to commercialize these innovations with the goal to improve the life of billions around the world. Mr. Naveen Jain is a trustee of the board at X Prize Foundation, where he's focused on finding entrepreneurial solutions to address the global challenges in health, education, poverty, agriculture, and clean water. He recently launched X Prize in India with Mr. Ratan Tata to bring the concept of incentive prizes to solve many of the toughest problems facing India. He is also on the board of Singularity University, an interdisciplinary university where he focuses on educating and inspiring leaders to address humanity's grand challenges through innovative technologies. Mr. Naveen Jain has been awarded many honors for his entrepreneurial success and leadership skills, including Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Albert Einstein Technology Medal for Pioneers in Technology, Most Admired Serial Entrepreneur by Silicon India, Humanitarian Innovation Award at the United Nations, and Top 20 Entrepreneurs and Lifetime Achievement Award for the leadership in the technology industry by Red Herring. Mr. Naveen Jain is married to Anu. They have 3 children and live in Washington State, just north of Seattle. IILM Institute for Higher Education, New Delhi, is honored to confer IILM Distinguished Global Thinker Award to Mr. Naveen Jain. May I request our chairperson, Mrs. Malvika Rai, to do the honors, please.
Now, may I request Mr. Jain to deliver his special lecture on using innovation entrepreneurship to solve humanity's big challenges. Mr. Jain.
Thank you. First of all, I'm absolutely honored and humbled to be in the great company of other awardees, and I honestly do not believe I deserve this. But I'm humbled and honored, and thank you very much. Now, in terms of solving the problems, we actually are living in one innovative decade of human history. There has never been time in the human history where so many technologies are converging together that will allow each one of us to do things that has never been possible before. Imagine what each one of us can do today that used to be only the domains of the kings and the queens and the superpowers. Landing on the moon that has only been done by the 3 great superpowers, the Russia, United States, and barely by China because their lander crashed on the landing. Right? But imagine if a poor boy who grew up in the villages in UP where we had no food to eat went to the United States with $5 in the pocket, with nothing but a dream, is able to dream so big that he believes he's capable of landing on the moon and becoming a 4th superpower. Imagine that dream that a poor boy from India can achieve. What else is possible for any one of us to do? There's nothing that is impossible that we can't achieve. What stops us from doing things is very simple thing. We have lost the power to dream. We cannot dream big because when we dream big, people think we are crazy. Let me tell you something. Until you tell someone what you're doing and they don't think you're crazy, you're not dreaming big. So dream even big. Right? Because if you dream big, even if you fail, you have gone out and made the mark on the society for someone else to follow your footsteps and go do those great things. The second thing that stops us, each individual or the society from moving forward is the fear of failure. What if you can take away a fear of failure from people and give them a power to dream? Is there anything that's not possible? How does the fear of failure come in? Because we believe if we do something and if it doesn't work, somehow we have failed. I can tell you that as an individual or as an entrepreneur, we never ever fail. The idea that we try may or may not work, but that idea becomes a stepping stone to even a bigger idea and a bigger success. You simply adapt. You never fail. The only time you fail in life is the day you give up. If you don't give up, you never fail. Now, let me tell you that it's not just simply thought. Today, you are able to go out and solve the problem, whether it's disrupting education, whether it's disrupting healthcare, whether it's disrupting agriculture, whether it's disrupting energy. Each one of those things are possible today. And how are they possible? Exponential technologies are growing at a pace where each one of these technologies are growing and doubling year after year after year. And many of these things are now converging together. So for example, the healthcare diagnostics, which could only be done by some of the best hospitals and the doctors who spend 10 years of their life, so for them to be able to tell you when you're sick, what's ailing your body. Imagine if you had a smartphone in your hand that can diagnose the diseases better than a certified doctor. And you know why? Today, the amount of research that's happening every single day is more than any human mind can ever read. There's so much that is going on that humans can't keep up, but machines can. Right? So what if each one of us have a device that's able to diagnose every possible common disease that we suffer from? We become the CEO of our own health. If we are able to do that, imagine the billions of lives that you'll be able to save, or billions of lives you'll be able to touch. To me, there is no better way of defining what success is. It's never going to be about how much money you have. It is going to be about how many lives have you touched. And I can tell you, if you want to create $1 billion company, it's really easy to do. How many of you want to create $1 billion company? Not many of you. Come on, guys up there. Nobody wants to create $1 billion company. I'll tell you the secret of that. All you have to do is solve a $10 billion problem. It's that simple. You go out and find a problem that's really a big problem. What are the biggest problems? Every societal problems, every grand challenge that humanity faces, from lack of education, affordable education, lack of affordable healthcare, lack of fresh water, lack of energy. All these things are possible today for an individual to do. Our planet, the planet Earth, is being bathed in solar energy 10 times more every single day than we consume in the whole year. So why can't we harness the power of solar energy? What if you're able to use the helium-3 that we can bring back from the moon or other planetary bodies and able to create a fusion energy? A small quantity of helium-3 can power this planet for generations to come. Now, obviously we don't have a fusion energy yet, but it's happening. In fact, just last week, the French actually powered the fusion reactor and thus able to generate 500 kilowatts. It's only a matter of time that we'll be able to have a fusion reactor. There's only a matter of time we'll be able to increase the efficiency of solar cells, that is about 22% to be 40% or 45% or 50%, and then the whole planet will be able to have an abundance of energy. The thing that we individuals and as a society we have a biggest problem is our mindset is always focused on scarcity. A mindset of scarcity says the things that we need are somehow limited. So we need to hoard them or we need to be able to conserve them. The only way you can create a sustainable society is to create the abundance of everything. Create more of what you need, not use less of what you have. What if you have abundance of energy? Won't you be able to use that to create abundance of fresh water simply by desalinizing? So once you have abundance of fresh water, you have abundance of energy, and you have abundance of health, and you have abundance of education, what will you do? And the question you have to keep asking yourself is, what if we had more of everything? What would that life look like? What if the people essentially are able to do things that they dream about without anyone telling them it can't be done? What will you do? So the question you have to ask yourself is, what is my passion? What's my obsession? What is truly the things that I care about? And I can tell you the thing that I learned in terms of how to find your true passion in life. How many of you know what your true passion in life is? Not many people here. Let me tell you how you find your true passion. Ask yourself a one simple question. What if I had everything that I dream about? I have $1 billion. I have a wonderful family. I have everything that I ever dream about. What would I do? And that is what you should do today to get everything that you want. The thing that you care most about if you had everything to do is what you should be doing today, because that's what allows you to get everything that you ever want. There is nothing. People talk about, if I start a company, how am I going to get the money? How am I going to get the resources? Who is going to help me? I don't know anything about this subject. How am I going to start healthcare? I don't even know anything. I can tell you that the most disruptive ideas come from the people who know nothing about that industry. In fact, when you go to an expert, they're very good at giving you something, maybe an incrementally better idea than what exists today. Every disruptive ideas actually come from non-expert. As you know, I'm on the board of XPRIZE, and we launch these great challenges, whether it is going to the space, whether it's creating 100 miles per gallon, or whether it's adult education. Every single time what we found is there is never a team that won the prize actually came from the industry. It's always been someone who's absolutely outside the industry. And here's a great example. We all know that there was an oil spill in the Gulf in the United States. Interesting thing is, when the oil spill happened, the British Petroleum was using exactly the same technology that Exxon used when there was an oil spill in the Maldives in Alaska. And we thought, that is really stupid. What if we could do a prize? BP was spending $20 billion trying to clean up the oil. We launched a prize, a $1 million prize. And it was really simple. Can someone build a machine that's going to be twice as good what BP is currently using today? And we launched a $1 million prize to do that. In fact, the companies, within a year, the top 10 companies all had at least 4x better machine that they were building. In fact, here's a very interesting one. One of the top 5 teams came about, there were 3 people, a dentist, a mechanic, and a guy from a tattoo parlor. It sounds like a start of a really bad joke. And this is how it came about. There was a mechanic getting a tattoo on his arm and a tattoo parlor. And the guy asked him, he said, hey, you're a mechanic. Did you hear about this $1 million prize? Can't you build a machine that can go clean up this oil thing? You're a mechanic. We can all share the prize. The guy says, I've heard about it. And I heard that oil spill only happens when they do the drilling. My dentist does a lot of drilling. I'm going to call him and ask him. Think about it. They had no idea what they're talking about. These 3 guys got together and built the machine because they did not know anything about what they were doing. So what happens is that human brain is very interesting. Once you know something about the subject, Your human brain already has the connections to the problem. You hear the problem, you have a solution. Oh, here's what you can do. When you know nothing about the problem, the human brain actually starts to move into abstraction. When you go to abstract, you start to put the things together that has never been put together before. So they're saying, well, the oil is on the surface. What if I build a ski? What if I put a pump, vacuum pump? What if I had something, a vacuum pump continuously store while I'm skiing on it? But those things expert would say, are you crazy? That will never work. Guess what happened? That is exactly what they did. And that's exactly what got them to be 4x better than what they were using today. So my point is, every single time when you confront yourself and saying, I know nothing about it, that is your biggest strength. In fact, every single company that I've started, I knew nothing about it. When I started Moon Express, my first reaction was, how are you going to the moon? It keeps moving all the time. Then someone told me, well, no. It has an orbit and this is, it's like, spare me the details. You know what to do, right? Now, go make it happen. Right? My job is to simply challenge every single thing they were doing. They told me they needed one big rocket to go to the moon. I said, no, you don't need the one big rocket because this is a modular problem. The Earth has a tremendous amount of gravity. There is no gravity between the Earth orbit and the moon orbit, and the moon has 1/6 the gravity. Why do you need one big rocket? What you need is 3 small rockets. And you know what the first told me? You're not a rocket scientist, you don't know anything about it. And after half an hour of arguing with me, they say, that's a great idea. But my point is, that's how the great ideas come about. When someone knows nothing about your subject, they keep pushing you, why can't you do this? And some simplest of the things is what makes something so disruptive. Right? My next company, I'm doing healthcare. You know how much I know about healthcare? Anybody? Zero. Right? And that's what's going to make me do things that nobody has ever thought about. Every doctor tells me, oh, this bacterial detection, viral detection, it will never work. It's going to cost a lot of money. Or, we have tried this before, it doesn't work. Remember that? We tried that 10 years ago, it doesn't work. What they don't realize is, world has changed in the last 10 years. It's no longer the same world. The prices of sensors have come down so much. Today you have sensors that used to be $1 million, you can buy them for 5 cents. You can buy the microfluidic devices that are able to attach a camera and be able to look at the virus or a bacteria right down to the RNA. Right down to the RNA. Think about that. You are able to detect anything you want. In fact, now we have tools at our disposal that we as individuals will be able to modify our own genes. We'll be able to go out and in fact change the genes or develop a drug that only impacts the one specific person. So imagine if you build a drug that only attaches to the DNA or a specific gene that is only in the president of North Korea, and you can distribute it to the whole world. The only one person who's going to get killed, that's going to be president of North Korea. Right? But the point is that is doable today. What if you're able to modify your own body and tell your body, just because I had a big breakfast doesn't mean I'm not going to have a big lunch, or just because I had a big lunch doesn't mean I'm not going to have an even bigger dinner. Stop storing the food. Right? Don't make me fat. I'm sick and tired of being fat. Right? And it is today possible. In fact, this technology called CRISPR-Cas9, it is started and developed in US, and they can't do anything because a country that's developed country like United States, it becomes a large bureaucratic organization where nothing ever happens because of the rules and the regulations and how all the things happen. That's a tremendous opportunity for a country like India to be able to leapfrog everything that is being done. Think about what India did wonderfully well. We didn't have the telephones, we didn't have the wireline telephones. When the telecom revolution came, we bypassed the wireline completely, we went to wireless. And in fact, in some parts of the country, our wireless system, except here, is better than the United States. And that is actually what's happening. Now imagine we could do the same thing in every single technology. So people tell us India will never change. We can't even have the roads that you can drive the cars on. How are you going to ever have electronic commerce that can ever work in India? You can't even deliver anything. And that's again the mindset of scarcity, that you need roads to deliver something. What if we bypass the wire line and went wireless and used the drones for delivery? You don't need no infrastructure. And next thing you know, we're going to build a whole infrastructure in the sky to deliver using drones to deliver the goods. And then we export that to the United States, because while they're still trying to figure out how to ban the drones. Right? And I can go on and on. The same thing is starting to happen. The gene editing technology and stem cells, we banned them in the United States because we don't want people to be doing these things. So what happened? Now all of the research in the stem cells moved to China. In fact, very recently, China, one of the doctors able to cut the head of one mammal and attach it to a different thing. So imagine, instead of me working out, I have someone else working out and use his body when I think I need my new body. And get my beautiful head on that. Right. But the point is, UK just allowed the gene editing, the CRISPR-Cas9 to happen on embryo, and that happened 3 weeks ago. So all of the things that are happening, we have an opportunity to be able to do all the healthcare diagnosis and do them in India and build these devices that can diagnose all the diseases. And if we can develop them in India, test them in India, we can export them to the United States. Because in the US, to get these things approved, it will take 10 years and I'll die of old age before anything else happens. Right? So what's happening is all of these things are tremendous opportunities for Indian entrepreneurs. Education system. We all are trying to mimic the West. A obsolete education system at Stanford and Harvard, we are trying to bring that from United States to India. What we need to do is to completely bypass that obsolete education system, reinvent the education system right here in India that Stanford and Harvard would need, because they may or may not be around. Right? Why would you need an education system where the students who learn very differently have to adapt to a teacher who's standing here and giving you the lecture? What if the teacher could be one-on-one adapting to how you learn? What if it is time is as opposed to being time-based and variable learning, that you have 6 months and whether you get A, B, or C, or D, it's time-based variable learning, and then you move on to the next subject. What if it's changed to variable time fixed learning? Just like a video game. It doesn't matter, you have to get equivalent of an A, whether it takes you 1 day, 1 month, or 1 year. Imagine in a video game what happens. It doesn't matter how long it takes until you pass the level 1, you don't go to level 2. And people who are good, they can go to level 14. But you have to get the fixed learning. What if you're able to design the education system for the next century by building a system that's adaptive, that's gamified, that's collaborative, that's able to solve the problems that you face day to day rather than focus on learning a particular skills? The skill-based learning is completely obsolete because the problems are not unidisciplinary anymore. Problems require interdisciplinary approach. In fact, most problems in the real world requires collaboration of multiple minds from different disciplines coming together. What happens in a class if 5 students start to work together and come up with an answer? You know what the teacher calls that? Cheating. And in the real world, we give them an award. You're a team player. My point is, we all have tremendous opportunities in India that everything that we feel is broken here is because we are constantly trying to import the broken, obsolete stuff from Western country to here. Those are the bureaucratic organizations where nothing good is going to come out of. We are the great entrepreneurs. Imagine people like me can go to US and tell them what to do. I am no different than anyone sitting here. What is duty I tell everyone in the United States is, in India, everyone is an entrepreneur. Living life is entrepreneurial. Survival is becoming an entrepreneur here. The fact you are able to live with 1.3 billion people every single day, you know what it takes to compete. You know what it takes to succeed in business. We are an entrepreneur by genetic evolution. We cannot but be good at what we do, because that's the only way we survive. And my last thing really is that, our idea of, it's not just about doing well and being successful. It's really about getting a satisfaction about helping others and giving back. And to some extent, that's one place I feel we as Indians actually need to learn something from the Western society, which is the idea of giving back and really thinking about how can we help the people who are in need. Everyone that's sitting in this room is extremely fortunate person. Think of everyone who is less fortunate. What can you do for them without any expectations of getting something back? And the minute you start to do that, you'll start to feel the true happiness that you derive from it. We, in fact, as humans, empathy and helping others is in our DNA. I don't understand how can we possibly forget. Just remember when we were living in the savannas of Africa, we realized that we as individuals can never succeed or never can survive until the people around in a tribe, we all have to really take care of each other. Because the tribes that took care of each other, when the tiger came, we got together and killed the tiger. And the tribes that had the division, they didn't take care of each other. When the tiger came and said, you want to eat him? Be my guest. Right? So the point is, we all in society have to learn to take care of each other. People, it doesn't matter. If you know something, go teach the next person. If you have a penny to spare, give it to the next person. If nothing else, give them your time. Give them a time to hear them out. Everyone has a story to tell. So next time you meet someone on the road who is homeless, just sit down, give them 5 minutes of their time. Ask them what happened, how are they doing. Just hearing the words and them knowing that you care would change their life. So my point is, never while you're living this great life being here, living that life of success, always remember there are less fortunate people out there. Try to live a life of significance at the same time. Thank you. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Jain, for that inspiring talk. Now, Mr. Jain will take few questions. May I request the questions to be kept short and the participants to introduce themselves before asking questions.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Naveen, I'm Sunil Goyal. I run an early stage venture capital fund. We live for innovation and entrepreneurship in India for the last 5 years. We come across thousands of entrepreneurs every month who pitch to us to seek funding. We are shocked at the quality. The numbers are in plenty, but ideas are always something similar, some e-commerce, some aggregation, something like this, which is not changing the world at all, or replicas of the West. We are not able to crack this particular problem as to how do we make our entrepreneurs to do something as big as you're talking about. We're not able to, how long will it take to change the journey? And we want to invest in the best.
So, in some sense, we as a society, in some sense, is still living in a colonialism, where take our power to dream has been taken away. So go back to look at a lot of these communist countries where there are brilliant people in Eastern Europe and there are never great entrepreneurs that comes out of it. It's because the people don't have a power to dream and their hopes have been taken away. The best way to do that is to give people the hope and create a safe environment where they are able to experiment and fail, and encourage them that just because their first idea does not work doesn't make them a bad person. All that means is now they are ready to take on to even a bigger challenge because they've learned something that most other people haven't had a chance to learn. So I think in some sense, creating a big opportunity is what allows the capital to flow inside. But people think to dream big, they need to have more capital. In fact, it's other way around. If you have a really big dream, the money will flow towards you because at the end of the day, entrepreneurs don't have a geographical boundaries, those are political boundaries. And the capital is not patriarchal. Capital goes wherever the opportunities are. If the opportunities are in India, the money from US will flow into India. And that's why you see the small revenue companies like Snapdeal or Flipkart have $10 billion valuation. So point is, because they were able to dream big, they were able to go out and start executing, and that's where the capital comes in. So I think our job here needs to be to inspire people to go dream big, dream so big that people think they're crazy. And I think that our colleges are essentially constrain the creativity of people, and we have to start to educate people in a way where teachers themselves are inspired and teachers themselves are thinking big, and they're learning from students just as much as students learn from the teacher. I didn't quite answer your question, but it really is, it's all about inspiration and the people feeling that they can do it. Because people in India feel the big things are only done by the people in America, it cannot be done by the people in India. And that's just not true at all.
Hi, my name is Neil. Thank you for a very inspiring session. So my co-founder and I, we moved back after business school in the US, come back to India and set up something which you kind of touched on, mobile learning games for professionals. And we want to build a company that is based out of India but is global. And I would kind of follow it up with this question that just came that when we initially talk to people and into the stakeholder system, there's a lot of resistance towards new ideas. Most investors want to invest in the Uber for X. And we were very fortunate we got initial support and funding from people who believed in our vision, and thanks to kind of our global networks. But for the average entrepreneur who's coming out of India, how do you actually kind of rally supporters around a cause which you're passionate about, etc. But the whole community is looking for short-term wins. So how do you in that space differentiate yourself and find?
So the good thing is the technology is at your disposal that never existed now. So using crowdfunding, in fact, I can tell you that many of the companies in the US suffer through the same thing. That every VC, Starbucks is a great example. Howard Schultz probably went to 2,000 venture capitalists, and everybody told him, "You are stupid. That idea will never work." And guess what? Eventually, all had to be one person who believed in it, and today it became the largest coffee chain. The Pebble watch, every VC, basically, I told them that idea will never work. And ultimately, put them in a crowdfunding Kickstarter and raised $12 million in Kickstarter. The point is today, it doesn't matter where you live in, you have access to the global capital. You can go out and take your idea before you even have a product and get the crowdfunding and have a customer. And when you have a customer, the venture capitalists follow. Right? So the point is, you don't need to get the venture capitalists, they will come to you. You don't have to go to them. You go out and create an opportunity by coming up with the right idea, the right dream, and get the thing on a crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And once you have those customers and proves the thing, even though you have no product, every VC will be knocking on your door to come give you the money. So so in some sense, it is people want to be the venture capitalists at the end of the day, the greedy, right? You appeal to their greed of missing out. Right? And if you can appeal to their greed of missing out, they'll be falling all over themselves like lemmings, right, to come and give you the money.
Good evening, sir. On behalf of the students I would like to say it's been a pleasure, it's been an honor to be in your presence and to have you and us. I have a question that you very rightly said that one should realize it's a dream and work for the same. And also you said that in a country like India, everyone is an entrepreneur. But then there exists.
Yeah, you said that one should realize his or her dream, his passions, and work for the same. And also you said that in a country like India, everyone has the art of entrepreneurship. But then there exists competition and pressure. So how does one run after his or her dream and passion when at the same time he or she has to look after so many things, and including family? So, and also the chances of success in a country like India are too low, and we've seen this happening.
As an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter what country you live in, the chances of success of your first idea are low. I mean, the fact is 90% of the startups fail, whether we like it or not. But the idea is that just because the first idea that you start doesn't work, it doesn't mean your second idea that you build on top of the first idea when you adapt will not work. So the thing is to get started, and your first idea may not be the right idea, but you constantly keep adapting to the reality to the market. When I started Intellius, my first idea was to go build a photo sharing website. And as soon as I started, I think that's really a stupid idea. And then I went on to become a public records company. When I started InfoSpace, my first idea was to build the internet file system. And then Microsoft announced they're going to do that. I said, that's it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go out and build the white pages directory. Right? Point is, it doesn't matter what you do. At the end of the day, you have to go out and continue to execute and adapt as the market realities change. There is no science to being successful. It's really that being an entrepreneur is literally step 1, 2, and 3. It's all about execution, execution, execution. Ideas are not what makes you successful. Ideas are dime a dozen, or at least ideas are like a belly button. At least everybody has one, right? In fact, if you want ideas, ask a cab driver. He'll give you 10 ideas. Sir, the road is broken, this is broken, this is broken. They'll give you 10 ideas what you should be doing. So it's better that entrepreneurs succeed by execution, not by the ideas. Other thing is to start sharing your ideas with other people and recruit the other people to your cause. And by bringing more people and very quickly bootstrapping your idea, and as you bootstrap, you get a little bit more money, and then you bootstrap, you get a little bit more money. And I really think there is no specific secret to success other than by simply doing it and bootstrapping it.
When we talk about problem solving, and I think you find the problem which you have been talking about in the morning as well as in the current session. When the presidential election was taking place in the United States, Obama was running against Hillary Clinton. I was doing my doctorate there and following very closely that particular election process. I found that when a leader, he was not a leader right from the word go, but he came back from the behind and started moving forward. In the same way, when you are trying to solve and identify problems, and in a very changing, very fast-moving dynamic changes happening, problems are also, the dimensions of the problems are also quickly changing. So how to really identify and pinpoint that problem with precision in order to start a venture? That is first. And the second question is that once you have done that, how do you identify a team? Because one person cannot solve all the problems. He might be an inspirer, a big innovator, or a kind of a motivator. But identifying a team, how do you do that? I mean, is there any, I know there is no rocket science for that, but from your experience, how have you done that to build a team and really move forward?
So let me answer the second question first, second part of the question first, in terms of how do you build a team. When you're looking for a friend, you want someone who is just like you. When you're trying to form a team, you have to work with the people who are very unlike you, people who are complementary. So that means if you are a person who is a strategy guy and understand where the market is going and you are a leader, then you want someone who actually someone you can't possibly tolerate, who say, look, I don't know the bullshit you talk about, I can go out and execute on it. That means you tell me what to do and you keep cutting the tree, then I'll keep building the road behind you. That means finding a team becomes a skill of complementary skills that you find, and not the people who are just like you are saying, rah, 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 let's go, let's go, let's go. In terms of finding the problem, you have to remember, most people start not with the problem but the solution. So what you're really saying is that, hey, I have, based on the current technology, here is the solution that I can apply. And that to me is generally a kiss of death. Because if it takes you 2 years or 3 years to build your company, and you are applying today's technology to that problem, by the time you get out, you're already obsolete. So you have to start anticipating where the technology is going to be, and use that time that you're building to underlying infrastructure. The technology will be ready for you, so you're always at the cutting edge. And the way you do that is to constantly be learning about what's happening in the marketplace, what's new in the technology. And also remember that your competition is not going to come from the same industry that you are in. So for example, if you are in the healthcare pharmaceutical industry and you are Merck, you always looking at what Pfizer is doing or what the Bristol Myers is doing. And if you're really leading thinker, you say, I look at some of the biotech companies, what they're doing. What you don't realize is, once you start to do a full sequence of your genome, your microbiome, your proteome, and you start to do full MRI, it becomes a big data problem. And your competition is not going to be one of the biotech or pharmaceutical companies, it's going to be a big data analytics company like Google or Microsoft or Human Longevity, someone who's going to go out and come from a very different industry that will impact what you're doing. So I think in some sense, identifying the problem, understanding the implications of every technology, what is the primary implication, secondary and tertiary, and knowing that your competition is not going to be coming from the same industry of experts and same industry, but could be coming from a completely different industry.
Hi, I'm Srinivasan, again a faculty at IILM. My question is regarding, I believe that India is at the cusp of transformation. We need, as per statistics, about 10 million jobs every year. And this problem, I believe, is going to get solved not by the multinationals that are coming to India, but by micro enterprises. So, what would you suggest? Probably what learnings can we have from other economies? Could it be some policy intervention which needs to be brought into the ecosystem? Or should I, as an individual, change my mindset to bring about this change and make the Indian economy grow?
Well, very rarely, the problems are rarely solved from top down. If you want the societies to change, it has to really come from bottom up. That means we as individuals and a small group of people is starting to take care of our own selves and our own community, and we start to make examples after one community after another community. That means, can we go out and implement in our own community a solution that there is no one who is not employed? Can we create micro entrepreneurship in our own community, and that becomes a model for the next community? Also, in terms of creating jobs, there is always going to be a technological force that goes against the job creation, right? So today, how many people have a job of driving a car? With the self-driving cars, those particular jobs will go away. Similarly, the people who are working on a factory, as you start to look at robotics or even a DNA bots, who will be created just to do a specific job, those jobs will disappear. But the fact is, every single time a technology comes along that disrupts one type of job, then new sets of jobs get created. In fact, if you look today, the 50% of the jobs that exist today did not exist 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Who would have ever thought of a guy whose job is to do a big data analytics, right? So that job did not exist. So as the society is changing, as the technology is changing, you'll continue to have a new set of jobs that will be created, whereas the old jobs will continue to get disrupted by the technology. And that means we have to now give our children the tools at their disposal that allows them to constantly become a lifelong learner, as opposed to them hoping what they learn in college will become the foundation of the only learning they have and they'll be able to use their life. That is changing fast. In fact, every skill that you learn today becomes obsolete in 5 to 10 years. So you have to really, while you're still at college, is to teach them how they can become a lifelong learner, how can they constantly be learning while they're here. That means you don't teach them, you allow them to learn themselves. So you go to the class if you are a teacher and say, today we're going to talk and learn about this. So next 48 hours, we all go do the research, including me, and we're going to come back and learn about what's latest in this. Right? And that's how they started to say, hey, maybe I can go do it myself. I don't need a teacher. And if you don't teach them that, they'll always be saying, oh, I don't know what to do because nobody ever told me this. Because they haven't gotten the tools to learn themselves. Sure.
We can take one more question.
Hello, my name is Gurpreet. I'm teaching economics here. First of all, thank you for explaining should be creative destruction. My question is, India's expenditure on R&D is minuscule. Our firms have 0.05% share of their sales in R&D, but we also have a policy of Make in India. So what do you think this will trickle down, or like you said, we need bottoms-up approach? So should we wait for innovators and then have a strategy of policies like Make in India, or is a step in the right direction?
Well, first of all, I want to differentiate between innovation and invention. Invention, scientists invent. Innovation can happen by everybody. Innovation is essentially a different way of looking at a problem. You can change the business model, that's an innovation. Uber is not an invention, Uber is simply an innovation, right? So you can innovate without inventing. And in terms of invention, you don't need to be inventing yourself. In fact, there is so much of invention in the research that is sitting anywhere that you can go out and use and license and use. So in fact, my new company, that's all we are doing. We are looking at billions of dollars of research that is being funded by the government, and it just sits there in the lab. And we are simply taking it out and commercializing it essentially by using the entrepreneurial skills to go out and bring it to market. So the point is, I have no scientists. I have 0% of my revenue that goes to R&D. But I have $500 billion being spent on my behalf, and million scientists that work for me and that actually government is paying for. And I'm simply using them to build a company.
Jain, Professor Chaudhary, delegates, colleagues, and dear students. We have come to the end of our 9th Global Thinker Award ceremony, and special lecture by Mr. Jain has generated much interest among the audience. I have been entrusted with the honor of delivering vote of thanks. Mr. Jain, on behalf of students, faculty, and management of IILM, I thank you with a deep sense of gratitude for sparing your valuable time for us and enlightening all of us on various phases of entrepreneurship. Let me assure you that as a business school, IILM shares your vision on innovation-led growth as well as the importance of education in tackling impending challenges of the world and India. The insights you have provided today would be of immense value to our students and would enable them to make the right choices in the journey ahead in today's extremely dynamic business world. I'm sure our faculty members from both management and engineering schools will certainly incorporate some of our pertinent points you have raised in their curriculum and delivery. Sir, this interaction is only the beginning of a great association we would like to have with you, and we would like to come back to you for insights into new paradigms in innovation, entrepreneurship and management. On behalf of IILM, I thank our distinguished guest, Mr. Naveen Jain, for making this function truly memorable. Thank you. May I request all to please rise for the national anthem.
Come on.
Any special visit soon. You will visit again soon.
That's it? That's it special. Something about the food. Innovative management.
So, now decipher that.
This is right.
Keep it in that bag of yours.
She gets a gift too. She didn't even come. I know. You messed it up. No, I messed it up.
So, it's almost properly
yeah, last time thank you for thanks to our Prime Minister, the visa on arrival right. Honestly, I was with a consulate journal, and the guy tells me, "Oh, you know that we have visa on arrival," and I said, "That is really nice." Okay.
And then we would all.
All right, let's go do that.
So it's all vegetarian. It's all. one, I don't know. Is it very important or not?
Yes. My son is 11. Okay. With undergraduate.
मेरा प्लेट लेके दूँ जगह छोड़ दो हाँ जी आलू चाट आलू चाट दी
So when we have a class of 75 minutes.
No way. That's a killer. You can break, unless and until you break it down in slow